So let's move on to some more complicated electron configurations. So for example, we can move to the next periods in the periodic table. When we talk about a period, we're just talking about that principal quantum number. So period 2 means that we're talking about starting with the 2s orbitals. Period 3 starts we're now filling into the 3s orbitals here. So if we're talking about the third period, that starts with sodium and it goes all the way up to argon. So if we write the electron configuration for sodium, which you can try later, hopefully you would all get it correctly, you see that this is the electron configuration here, 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, and now we're going into that third shell, 3s1. And I want to point out the difference between core electrons and valence electrons here. If we look at this configuration, what we say is all of the electrons in these inner shells are what we call core electrons. The core electrons tend not to be involved in much chemistry and bonding or in reactions. They're very deep and held very tightly to the nucleus. So we can often lump them together, and instead of writing them all out separately, we can just write the equivalent noble gas that has that configuration. So for example, for sodium, we can instead write neon and then 3s1. So the 3s1, or any of the other electrons that are in the outermost shell, those are what we call our valence electrons, and those are where all the excitement happens. That's what we see are involved in bonding. It makes sense, right, because they're the furthest away from the nucleus. They're the ones that are most willing to be involved in some chemistry or in some bonding, or those are the orbitals that are most likely to accept an electron from another atom, for example. So the valence electrons, those are the exciting ones. We want to make sure we have a full picture of what's going on there. So no matter whether or not you write out the full form here or the noble gas configuration where you write Ne first or whatever the corresponding noble gas is to the core electrons, we always write out the valence electrons here. So for sodium, again, we can write Ne and then 3s1. We can go all the way down magnesium, aluminum, all the way to this noble gas argon, which would be Ne and then 3s2, 3p6.